Do you believe, from what you've heard this week in the testimony and from what you've read in that 800-plus page report, that both of them should be expelled?
Well, I don't think there's any question about Courser, and I think the House lawyer's testimony, was it yesterday or the day before, really laid out why he is not really going to be able to stay. I mean, I don't think that was questionable at all. I think Gamrat is a little more on the line there. But again, that's just looking at the conduct in the wake of this private affair and all this other stuff. That's not taking into account. I mean, the House lawyer wasn't talking about how they've conducted themselves since they've been there, and I think that, to me, is the thing that pushes both of them over. I mean, I think if the House wants to retain any sort of respect with voters around the state, you say this is not what service looks like. This is not what an elected official is expected to do, and you cannot stay here with the rest of it.
The honorable thing would have been for them both to resign, but there's not much honor in public life anymore. But I'm also
and they're both begging to keep their jobs. They really want to stay.
They do, and
you got to wonder, what is that for? What do they want to do? These
or
are not
what can they do? What can they do if they do stay?
They cannot be taken seriously by any of their colleagues. There's no way they can even as far as constituent services go. You wonder how much credibility they would have staying until next year. There is no public benefit to them staying. It is totally about them.
Well, and yet in the Senate, you also have Virgil Smith still sitting there, a guy who has gone into court and said, hey, I'm crazy, and no action has been taken. I mean, I think that as an institution, the legislature is really losing respect, losing credibility.
One of the things that I think pretty soon we need to talk about, and we have needed to talk about for a while, is if you're going to reform term limits, if you're going to reform the time that the legislature is there, if you're going to reform redistricting, we also need to reform the rules that govern public service in these chambers.